Okay, so here comes our final lesson for this week. And what we're doing is we're still solving equations, but it's now going to be two-step equations. So I'm just going to give you a brief reminder of what we did on lesson 1 and lesson 2. So lesson 1, we solved questions that were like x plus 2 equals 12, for example. And lesson 2, we solved equations that were like 9x equals 18. Okay, so for each of these, they're both equations because we've got an equal sign. So we're going to start by drawing a method line for both. Now on the one on this side, remember you always want the letter by itself, so you always do the opposite. So the opposite of plus 2 is just minus 2. So that makes that part disappear. So all you're left with is x equals, and then 12 minus 2 is just 10. Okay. Whereas on this side, what we're doing was, again, you want x by itself, so you want to do the opposite. So to get rid of this 9, you need to divide by it. So that leaves you with x equals, and 18 divided by 9 is just 2. So what we're going to do today is combine both of these together. So I've got 3 questions I'm going to go through with you. So 1a, 5x plus 1 equals 21. Okay, so can you please take out your notes jotters or any other jotters, take the heading lesson 4 two-step equations and copy down number 1 for me. Once you've done that, make sure you've got a method line. Okay, so we need to think, right, what does x stand for here? So it says here that 5 times something plus 1 gives you 21. Now if you're good at your times tables, you might be able to work that out yourself without actually working through this. Okay, but in some of them it does get a lot more difficult, which is why we need the method line to help us. So we're going to start with our lesson 1 stuff. We want to get rid of the plus 1. Okay, so I'm just going to highlight that part. So to get rid of the plus 1, again, we need to do the opposite. So we need to take away 1 from both sides. So if I take away 1, that makes this part in yellow disappear. So it leaves me with 5x. And you also need to take away 1 from this side. So 21, take away 1, just leaves you with 20. Okay. Then we've got something that looks like the stuff from lesson 2. So you need x by itself. So I want to get rid of the 5. So the way that we're going to do that is by doing the opposite. So I am going to divide by 5. And that gets rid of that. So it leaves you with x equals, and then 20 divided by 5 just gives you 4. And then that's you finished. Okay, so you might have knew that from the first line, is 5 times 4 is 20 plus 1, and you get what you've got on this side, 21. Okay, but I do want to see the method line, and I do want to see each line of work for this. Okay, second one, part B, 3y minus 2 equals 7. So take a wee note of this and draw your method line. Okay, so now instead of letter X, we've got the letter Y here, but we're going to do the exact same thing. You need to get that letter Y by itself. So first thing we're going to do is get rid of the plus or the minus. So okay, I want to get rid of this minus 2. So the opposite of take away 2 is add 2. So that's what we're going to do to each side. So if I add 2 to this side, that makes the part in yellow disappear. So it leaves us with 3y. And if I add 2 to this side, 7 add 2 just gives me 9. Now I know I'm not finished yet because you don't have the letter by itself. This number 3 is in front of it. So in order to get rid of the number 3, we need to divide by it. So that leaves you with y equals, and then use your times tables. So 9 divided by 3 just gives you 3. And then now you're finished because you've got the letter by itself. And you can always go back to the top line to double check to see if that's correct. So if you change y for number 3, 3 times 3 gives you 9. And if you take away 2, so 9 take away 2 gives you 7. And that's what you've got here. So you know it's the correct answer. Alright guys, final one I'm going to go through with you today. So can you please copy this in? So 4m add 3 equals negative 37. So So don't let the negative sign confuse you. We're going to work through this together. So once you've copied it in, make sure you've got your method line. So we are going to do the exact same thing. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this plus or minus first of all. Okay, so right now I've got an add 3 there. So what I'm going to do is the opposite. So the opposite of add 3 is take away 3. Okay, so that makes that part disappear. So it leaves you with 4m equals. Now think of your number line here, because I've got a negative. So negative 37. Right, so think of that number line that we had, right? That's going to be like down the bottom here, so that's 0. Negative 37 is going to be way down here somewhere. And I am taking away 3. So I'm going down 3 more places. So if I go down once, that gives me negative 38. That's once. If I go down another time, it gives me negative 39. And go down another time, it gives me negative 40. So this part here, so negative 37, take away 3, gives me negative 40. Okay, so hopefully you've still got your pink number line that I gave you a few months ago, and you can use that to help you. Now we're not finished yet because you don't have that letter by itself. So I want to get rid of this 4. So I am just going to divide by 4. So that's going to be m equals, and then, listen, forget about a negative sign there, okay? Just think, right, what is 40 divided by 4? Okay, and if you need your times table card, then that's okay. 40 divided by 4 gives you 10, and you've got a negative sign in there, just the one. So your answer is going to be m equals negative 10, and that's you. Okay, so I've got 10 questions that I would like you to practice this week. Okay, so they're going to be shown in a few seconds. Okay, so here are the 10 questions. For each of these, I want you to write the question down, then draw your method line and make sure you've got 2 more lines of work underneath here. Okay, so I want to see full working for this, because that's where you pick up the marks. Okay, so feel free to pause the video and screenshot it at this point. I will put the answers up in a couple of seconds, but remember you get 0 marks just for the final answer. I do need working as well. So here are the answers. So correct your work and please upload a photo of your work as well.